Hi, this is Milu. Welcome. Because of a situation I experienced with the people who manage the apartment where I live at, I made up my mind. I said, come hell or high water, this coming year, I'm going to buy a house. But I started looking already over the past few months. For some reason, I decided to take a trip through a neighborhood where I used to live. And I said, well, let me drive in front of the house that I used to own. I had to give up that house because I was going through my second Saturn return. You know, at the time, I heard of those terms, but I really did not know much about astrology, the meaning of those different cycles. So as I was driving, for some reason, I still feel an emotional attachment to that house and to that neighborhood. I don't know why it is. I can't explain it. While I was driving, I'm like, you know what? I think I should make a video about that experience and share it with everyone. I don't like it, but maybe someone will learn from what I went through. I bought that house while I was still in the corporate world, and one night I had a dream. I saw myself going to work, and as I got to the front gate of the company, somebody came up to me. It was a man. He came up to me and said, we're going to move you from here and put you someplace else. Oh my God. Automatically, I jumped up. I woke up out of the dream, and I'm like, I hope I'm not losing my job. Because I knew if I lost my job, for whatever reason, I was going to lose everything. So I tried to calm myself down, but I was worried. And sure enough, everything that could go wrong after I had that dream went wrong. And I also remembered I was told when I was in my early 20s, after I graduated from college, a friend of my family warned me. He told me, he said, nice degrees, but you're going to be reading for people. So once things started going south in the job, I'm like, okay, I was trying to fight to see if I could either get a job before things go south in that job or whatever was going to happen. I have a client/friend because I've known her for so long. So she called me because she wanted to ask me something. And she said to me, you don't sound like yourself. What's the matter? I explained to her what was going on. I said, I think I am going to lose my job. And I explained the dream that I had. She says, well, I know you're a good psychic, but do you know anything about astrology? I'm like, not very much. She says, that's what I thought. She says, I'm going to have an astrologer call you and I will pay for it. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I don't need an astrologer. My mother is good enough because I know my mom is good. So, and if my mother is wrong, it's like a bomb explode. It's rarely, but when it happens, it's like a bomb. In any event, I was being stubborn, but after that, I'm like, you know what? Why not? I had nothing to lose. So she had an astrologer call me. When I spoke to the gentleman, after he did my chart and everything, I gave him all the information. He called me. He said, you are going to lose your job. You're going to lose everything you own. And don't fight, because if you fight, it's going to get worse. And he says, go with the flow. You will get back on your feet. I did not like that very much. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I was studying astrology, but I was simply trying to understand it. And that's when I really got serious and learned astrology, and I figured it out myself. Unfortunately for me, I figured it out to the point where I realized this guy was right. And I was not very happy. But I said, you know what? I'm going to fight anyway. I kept on looking after I left the other job, I kept on looking for a new job. Although I had a corporate job, I was doing readings part-time. I did not have enough time to build enough clientele to go from part-time to full-time. So I got caught. And unfortunately for me, the chart was correct. I lost everything I owned. I lost the house. I mean, it was the worst thing and the worst feeling I've ever had in my entire life. I loved the house. Like I said, I loved the neighborhood. Whenever I drove to the house, it made me feel good. But nothing at the time, I was going through my second Saturn return. Nothing I did at the time worked. I tried looking for a new job. I gave up after a few months. I tried asking all the businesses in my area if they would allow me to do readings there. Okay, I didn't tell them the situation. I just tell them, would you allow me to do readings? Mostly I went through nail salon and beauty salon and stuff like that because that's where you find people who would more or less be open to this. So, but everybody said no. Unfortunately, they don't have the need at the time. Nothing worked. So I'm like, okay. At the time, I belonged to the Edgar Cayce Center in New York City. I went and started practicing there full time, but there is no way that was enough to help me save the house. So basically, I lost everything. But there's one thing that keeps bothering me. For some reason, I am not quite sure if it is because while I was going through the experience of losing the house, there were a few investors. I mean, those guys are sharks. They were trying, they did everything. One of them, in fact, came into the house. I spoke to him. I said, I'm not interested. I try to be nice to people. He's a business person. He came back again. I said, I'm sorry. I'm not interested. You can't help me, and I will resolve this by myself. Otherwise, I'll give it to the bank. I don't care. The third time he came, there were a couple of them that were trying to talk to me as well, but they accepted when I said no. But there was one of them, that guy was so tenacious. A third time, he lost his way. Instead of coming into my house, he went into the neighbor's house. And then when he came to my house, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. He told me he lost his way and went into the neighbor's house and was asking the neighbor's house about me and if I was willing to sell the house. I booted him out. After he told me that, he went to the neighbor's house and asked them if I was there, if I was interested in selling the house. After he told me that, he was standing at the front door. I said, it's time for you to leave and I don't ever want to see you again. And he never came back. But that gentleman, I don't know if that is the reason why, but I resent losing the house. I resent someone losing that much money and someone had to pick it up. So driving through the neighborhood and in front of the house brought all that stuff back. And I thought I left it behind. I thought now things are working for me. I found my way. I have hope now that I can, buy another home. I never expected driving through that street would bring back all the emotion I felt when I lived in that house and in my last day there. And at my last day there, I was happy to leave because, I felt ashamed. First of all, I lost my job and I had no control over anything. Number two, I was losing my house and I could read and sense some of the people in the neighborhood, because they're not going through it. They have no idea what you are going through. The way, you could feel what they are thinking, you're losing your house. So it was not a good feeling. And today the whole thing came back. No, I'm going to buy another one. No matter what, I'm one of those people. I don't stay down when I fall down. I wipe my butt, I get up, and go again. This morning, when those old feelings came back, I was like, oh my God. And I still feel the resentment of losing the house. I thought I left it behind. I thought I processed this whole thing. But I was wrong. The interesting thing was I was going through my second Saturn return. I learned at that time that the more you fight, the worse it gets. And no matter what, wherever the universe wants to take you, that's where you're going to go. Yes, you can wiggle your way through a couple of things, but you're going to land where you are supposed to land, and you are going to do what the universe has in store for you. That was the lesson I learned from my second Saturn return. I know I can say to myself, I went through my second Saturn return. That's why I couldn't keep the house. But still, although I understand why, it still bothers me. For some reason, I wish I could walk in there, make these people an offer, and take the house back. I know it's a crazy thing, but inside that's how I feel. But I will get over that as well. I thought I would share it with everyone. When you lose something like that, mostly if you are attached to the place, they said buying a home is an emotional thing. It's true. And you get attached to the place, it's even worse. And if you feel that that's where you want to be, yeah, that's where I felt I wanted to be. That's why I still live in the area, because for some reason it feels like this is where I belong. So I am still in the same area, but not in the development where I used to live at. In my case, there was nothing I could have done to save the house. There was nothing I could have done to keep my job. And according to the dream I had, although I knew, I gave it my best shot. Having my own business was always on my mind since I was a youngster. But when it came time for me to make the step to own my own business, it was traumatic. But now I am at ease with it, and I am moving forward. And the only thing that I still have to do is let go of the resentment, because I didn't think I resented the people who bought it. I still resent that guy. I still have issues dealing with the loss. So, but I feel once I buy another place, I feel I'll be okay. That's what happened to me during my second Saturn return. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much for your time. Please subscribe if you have not done so, and also press the bell in order for you to be notified when I am online or if I am live. Again, thank you. Till next time.